Hundreds of thousands of people in Cuba were forced to flee after Hurricane Melissa made landfall there earlier today. The Category 3 storm brought torrential downpours, tearing off roofs and uprooting trees in the east of the island. There are fears this hurricane, already one of the most powerful to ever hit the Caribbean, could worsen Cuba's severe economic crisis.
The calls that we have gotten are distress calls. Persons trapped on roof.
Hurricane Melissa hit Jamaica yesterday as a Category 5 storm, the most powerful hurricane to hit the island since records began. It's left a trail of devastation. At least 4 people confirmed dead so far, and more than 2/3 of people on the island were without electricity earlier, with extensive flooding and damage to property hampering rescue efforts. Journalist Zara Burden is in Kingston and joins us now. Zara, what are the latest details that you've got here on the impact that this hurricane has had?
Well, one of the most significant things happened today, which was the reporting of 4 deaths from this storm. As we know, a Category 5 is not something Jamaica had seen before, so we knew that there was a likelihood that we would have deaths, and here it is. We have confirmation today that 4 people so far have died. There were 3 that were reported to have died, but that was preparation for the storm. So if you count the 3 plus the 4, obviously we are at 7. But let's get to another development that happened today. This is the Prime Minister surveying the area, disaster area he determined that this was. He looked at St. Elizabeth. Maybe you can see some aerial footage of roofs gone and just the total devastation of the infrastructure. He had warned that our infrastructure and even any infrastructure maybe globally can't withstand a Category 5 hurricane, and you can see what this looks like. There were people in Montego Bay as well that went through just grief. It wasn't just St. Elizabeth, it was St. Elizabeth, it was Westmoreland, it was areas of Hanover, I believe. There was also Manchester and Clarendon, but also St. James, and in particular, Montego Bay, where many tourists are, as you know. Here's what some people had to say about their experience in the Montego Bay area.
Yesterday was horrible, horrific, terrifying, the worst day of my entire life, the worst experience of my entire life. To see my place being flooded out, it was terrifying for me and my child.
We were totally inundated. The entire ground floors of all the houses in Catherine Hall and West Green have been flooded. Major asset loss to vehicles, furnitures. We had to do rescue. Right now I have 3 children in my home that we rescued. We had to give them shelter, food and clothing and everything.
There was also one tourist I also spoke with, and she told me, she was American. She also said to me, this was like a freight train trying to come to a halt for 8 hours straight. She said it was ridiculously scary. Now, I want to point out to you that as a result of all the damage that has occurred on the western side of the island, more than 25,000 people are now in shelters. That's up from 15,000 yesterday. We got that information. So an additional 10,000 people. So that's just to give you an idea of the kind of displacement that's going on in Jamaica. People's lives completely upended. And in some cases, unfortunately, at least 4 people have lost their lives as a result of this storm.
Zara, I know we heard from the governor official yesterday talking about how once they knew it was safe, that they would be making their way toward rescues and hopefully hopefully not recoveries, but hopefully rescuing people who might have survived. What do you know about how that's going right now? Because those pictures you're showing, it does look like a tremendous effort to try and get in there.
In fact, one of my colleagues in the media today, she said she tried from Kingston to go to Black River to get an assessment of, just pictures. She couldn't get in. She said the area of St. Elizabeth, there were communities just completely covered by clay. And so she is aborting and going to try again. So that's the kind of situation being faced on the ground by media personnel. You can just imagine what other people are going through as well. Now, as you saw in that clip, there was an aerial reconnaissance. There was other I would say, inspections of the airports, Norman Manley International Airport here in Kingston. That didn't seem to have sustained much damage at all. For the most part, we were actually spared in Kingston. In fact, I went to Wendy's for lunch today, so you can start to see the coming back of Kingston from this storm. However, out west, totally different story. There was an assessment being done as well of hospitals, I know, by the health minister. The Black River Hospital, the only hospital in that parish of St. Elizabeth, which is our breadbasket, that was devastated, we were told today. And so it's interesting how they're going to go about the whole recovery. Now, I should speak about the amount of money this is going to cost. We've asked that question and they said it's too early to tell. Jamaica has, according to our Prime Minister a few days ago, about $33 million worth of money in just emergency funds budgeted already in the budget. Now, in terms of other measures, there is a catastrophe bond, which today we got word may actually get triggered based on just how powerful and the amount of rainfall in this situation of Melissa. So that might help us. We also have some other insurances as well. But Jamaica also launched a site because they realized that we're in serious dire straits here. supportjamaica.gov.jm. That's a site that people can go to if it is that they want to donate. You have the UK government mobilizing £2.5 million British pounds to support a rapid humanitarian response. You had the Miami Heat and Carnival pledging $1 million. The UN is obviously supporting the efforts. There are, different just humanitarian aid coming in. And in fact, we have relief flights that may, and I didn't get confirmation of this, but the transport minister had said that maybe we would start to get relief flights coming in tomorrow. So we'll look for those flights. But the whole idea here right now is, as you said, search and rescue and getting relief as quickly as possible to the people affected. So the damage assessments continue, and we'll see how this continues to play out in the next couple of days and weeks, and I would hazard a guess years, because this is going to be a long road to recovery.
Journalist Zara Burton in Kingston, thank you. And Darius Madavi is our CBC News and Science climate specialist, tracking Hurricane Melissa as it's been moving through the Caribbean. Darius, bring us up to speed. What's the latest?
Category 1 hurricane at the moment, so still wind speeds well above 100 kilometers per hour, up around 150, gusting up to almost 200 kilometers per hour. I wanted to show the last couple days of the progression of this storm, so let's just wait for this to loop through. You can see how well defined the eye is here as it made landfall in Jamaica. So, of course, this was yesterday, and then we saw it move up around Cuba overnight last night. You saw there a little bit more strengthening again between Jamaica and Cuba, coming briefly back up to a Category 4. It was kind of straddling that line between 3 and 4 as it moved up through Cuba. Now, a lot more disorganized, no clear eye, anything like that. It's going to continue to lose strength as it moves up into cooler waters up further north. It'll encounter some less favorable conditions. But this is imagery from Cuba. Lots of flooding across the area because of how much rain came down. In some places, we're talking over 500 millimeters of rain easily. In some places, even more than that. We saw storm surge in coastal areas. Very devastating situation. And the strong winds also not just experienced as that storm did make landfall in Cuba, but well before that and well after as it came out the other side, still as a Category 2 storm. It's moving through the Bahamas now and will continue to lose strength as it does so. But in the meantime, a lot of damage likely being done. Hurricane warnings are in place for that region. This is more flooding imagery from Cuba as well. Many places just devastated by this. There's going to be a lot of humanitarian efforts necessary on the ground in Jamaica, in Cuba, up in parts of the Bahamas. And let's take a look at where we're going to see it move next. So this is where we're sitting. This is the track that we've seen it move on now. Let's zoom out a little bit, zoom in a little bit here. These are the winds. The red here is hurricane force winds. In orange, we have 50 knot winds, so still very strong, up close to 100 kilometers per hour. And in yellow, tropical storm force, a very wide area. This wind field tends to actually grow a little bit as the storm weakens. It becomes more disorganized. Those tropical storm force winds will actually continue to grow. And if we zoom out here, that's exactly what we're seeing over the next couple couple of days. Very slight growth, but it'll become more dramatic as it continues to move north.
Quickly, I got to ask you, Atlantic Canada folks there are going to be wondering what kind of impact might they see?
Great question. Let's continue to zoom out even further. This is the track that we're expecting to see. Again, it's moving into those cooler ocean waters there, indicated by the oranges, the yellows, and then up into the blues. But still, as it moves up the coast, potential for strong, dangerous surf, strong rip currents, all that stuff. And then as it moves further north, we're going to see lots of rain being dropped as well. This is that wind field. We'll watch it track all the way up to the north. And as it gets up towards Newfoundland, we'll see those tropical storm force winds likely overlapping with Newfoundland, potentially even being grazed by those winds up around 100 kilometers per hour. And then it'll be gusting even higher than that as well. In terms of the rainfall, that is also going to be a big concern. This is wind, again, a different representation of it. But the rainfall is, here we go, heavy rainfall coming, unfortunately, right on Halloween. Halloween afternoon through the evening, right into probably Saturday morning. We're seeing those heavy rains sweep through. Nova Scotia and New Brunswick getting the worst Halloween night, but it will move up to Newfoundland not long after.
Darius, thank you.
Thank you.